Well, hello, family, and I want to welcome you and thank you for taking the first step towards this journey of moving from the message you are passionate about to your finished publication that also creates a vehicle for impact and income. My name is Dr. Joshua Mitchell, and I am so glad that you took the time to take this call and to prepare for what I think is going to be a journey that is going to transform you and literally change your life. So, what I wanted to do before we hop on our call is to give you some information about who I am, about what Passion to Publication is, and some important information to help you as you prepare for this journey. And so, it is imperative that you watch this whole presentation because I'm going to walk step by step through what our process is and what your process has to be, whether you decide to walk through our program or not, to get to the place of moving from passion to publication. So, if you will, let us jump into our time together and a little bit about who I am. My name is Joshua Mitchell, and I currently serve full time as the senior pastor at the 31st Street Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia. But I also have the distinct pleasure of serving as a professor at Virginia Union University, the home of the Virginia Union Panthers. Hallelujah. Uh, as well as have the opportunity to serve as coach. Over this last couple of years, I've had the privilege of working with and coaching hundreds, if not thousands, of pastors, of seminarians, of ministry leaders, particularly in the area of ministry to young adults, ministry in traditional congregations that are being transformed. And I've also served in the capacity of coaching who are looking to transform their ministries by taking what they're passionate about and turning it into a publication that generates revenue for them. I'm also an award winning author. My first book, Black Millennials in the Church Meet Me Where I Am, was released in 2018. It has gone on to win Independent Press Rewards, and I'm really proud of that. That was produced through Judson Press, is the publishing house who I produced that book with. And then in 2025, produced a self published book called Bread for Life. And I am grateful for the work that I've been able to do, but this was not the case in 2016. In 2016, I was in a different place in my life. I was depressed. I was dissatisfied, and I was slowly dying. I was working at a great church, was on staff at a church in Houston that was booming and growing. Had the opportunity to serve a lot of wonderful people, a lot of young people. Everything looked good on the outside. Was in school working on my doctorate, but I was also having heart palpitations, was stressed, was on high blood pressure medicine that I needed to ensure that I didn't stroke out, that I didn't have a heart attack. And though I had a great job and was working with great people, I had this righteous restlessness. I had this dissatisfaction in me that I knew there was more I needed to do. There was more I needed to do with what I was learning. There was more I needed to do with this feeling of, hey, I have something else to contribute to the world. And I'm gonna tell you what changed my life. It was in 2020. It was in 2016, rather, not 2026, but 2016, rather, where I had a important conversation with one of my mentors, Pastor Reverend Dr. Rudy Rasmus, who was the pastor at the St. John's downtown in Houston, Texas. And he said, "Man, it's time for you to write your book. That when you write your book will become your passport, and that passport will take you around this world to impact people through your words." And he was absolutely correct. And so it was then where I decided in 2016 that I would take a leap of faith. And I was in the middle of my doctoral work, finishing up. I sent a query to my publisher, Judson Press, and a query letter is a letter of interest in working with a particular publishing house. My first book was produced in 2018. That was um, Black Millennials in the Church Meet Me Where I Am. And that book literally opened the door for me to teach and present on platforms and stages around this country. Um, it gave me the opportunity to work in the academy. It allowed me to become a thought expert in the area of millennials and faith and millennials and color and faith. It allowed the doors to open up for working at the University of Houston, at Payne Theological Seminary, at Virginia Union University, and I am so grateful for the ways that it has impacted the lives of people, the lives of pastors and leaders around this country and around the world. But I learned some important things in that journey. I learned the power of publication. I learned that a publication really can, the right publication can change your life and the life of people around you. And I also learned in the publication of my second book, Bread for Life, which is a devotional piece that was designed for young adults who are wrestling with big questions around God, six major questions about who God is, and about our lives with God in in our modern world. And what I learned was this was really the tale of two publications. And so anybody that's thinking about starting this journey of publishing a book needs to consider, um, do I want to do a publishing house deal, or is this work designed for self-publishing? And let me break down how you ought to think about it. This is the first step in getting from passion to publication, is discerning where and how I want to publish. And so let's talk about the benefits and the challenges of working with a publishing house. There are some publishing houses that are large brands. Thomas Nelson is one. Um, Zondervan is one. Harper's Collins is one. They may require a literary agent for you to be signed to that deal. And there are others like Judson Press and Abington Press. Judson Press is my home. Abington Press is an extension of the United Methodist Church. There are others who you don't require an agent. You have to write a query letter, and they will take on people who are submitting manuscript proposals. And here's the benefit, I think, of the publishing house route. One, it establishes you as an expert and authority because you have the backing of a trusted brand. A publishing house, like any one of those that I named, produce products from persons who are thought to be credible, reliable, and their brand is in that. Two, it is the distribution channels that these publishing houses are set up. They have been doing this a long time. And so they were able, Judson Press in my case, was able to put that book out into the world in places and spaces I never would have asked for myself. My first time presenting at the Hampton Ministers Conference, which is a huge gathering of particularly African American clergy, maybe the largest in the country. They have a main stage space, and they also have a space that is dedicated for leadership development. And my first opportunity to do that was through Judson Press, pushing my book to the conference and giving me that opportunity to speak. That's on one side, but then on the other side, I was able to go and to present at Lipscomb University in Tennessee, which is certainly not as diverse, primarily a space with my white brothers and sisters, and that book got to them through the work of Judson Press. And so your publishing house has the ability to put you in places you didn't even know existed, and would promote your book in a way through these traditional routes that is effective. And then thirdly, I think the power of a publishing house is they take on the risks, right? So you write your manuscript, you submit it to them, and they are responsible for paying for the graphic design, for paying for the printing costs and the shipping costs, for paying for the editor that is needed to edit the book well, paying for marketing and things like that. They cover those risks. And so whether you sell 10 books or whether you sell 10,000 books, that is on your publishing house. Um, they take the risk in that way. The flip side of that for the author, though, is two primary things for me. Number one, you lose creative control and ownership in many of these deals of your book. And so when I signed, and this is not at all a shade, this is just me helping those who are getting into this space. When I signed my contract, I signed over ownership and control of the book, right? Judson owns that book. And so because of that, they had the ability to change the title. Um, my original proposal had a different title to it. They ultimately had the final say on it. They had the final say on what the book would look like, the cover design, and I could provide input, but ultimately it was their decisions because they owned it. I signed over the rights to that book, right? Um, you also learn as somebody who is signed to a publishing house, and there are kind of two major ways that that goes. You can sign to a publishing house, and you can be given an advance at some of these larger publishing houses. If you are a personality that has a lot of followers, they might sign you to a book deal where we're going to give you, $50,000 advance, and that may be all you see from that book, right? Um, but for most of your everyday authors who are not big celebrities, who don't have huge followings, you probably are signing a deal that you're getting paid through royalties. All right. And let me tell you something that you may not know about the basic royalty deal. Most standard book contracts have a royalty rate of about 10% for the author. So if the book is sold for $10, you're going to see a dollar of that in royalties. If the book sells for $20, you're going to get $2 on that. That's your standard publishing deal. And it really is like being signed to a record label, or what record labels used to be before these 360 deals, right? Uh, and there are ways to get more than that. So in my case, for our publisher, we could buy books for ourselves, and we could, buy them at a discount, like maybe 40% off, 50% off if you bought a bunch of them, and you could sell them yourself at the retail rate and keep what is left over. But in terms of just general sales out in the marketplace, 10% royalty on those books. And so one of my mentors who actually helped me to get my first publishing deal told me it's not life-changing money. Like it's going to pay a bill, but it's not life-changing money. This is establishing you in this field and as an expert. And he was correct. And those royalty checks would come in at the end of the year. So if I did not sell books on my own of my book, I would not see that money until the end of the year. And so ultimately, you know, my book was a success. Won award, was able to sell, a solid amount of copies of the book, but financially did not really profit on that book and that book being successful. That's publishing house. On the other side, self-publishing, uh, it is it is all the risk on you. And so you maintain creative control. You can control your title, you can control your marketing, you can control your graphic design, you can control who you pick as an editor. You maintain all of that. So you have freedom, and you determine the timeline on when this gets put out. So one thing about self-publishing, or one thing about publishing through a publishing house, is the runway. And most people don't know that the runway for a classic publication is 12 to 18 months. Often it is a 3-month wait process to even find out if your book proposal was accepted. And then there's this process of finishing the manuscript, of editing. So my book contract was signed in December of 2016. Yeah, right before Christmas, we signed that. And then it didn't come out until 2000, 2018, right? So it was about an 18-month, 12 to 18-month journey from submitting that proposal to getting the book published. With self-publishing, you can publish a lot faster. You can get your work out faster. You can control where it goes. But all the risk is on you. All the initial investment is on you. Paying for an editor, paying for your design, paying for formatting, all of that is on you. And figuring out how you're going to promote that book is on you. But what I learned through my self publishing journey is um, I like the freedom. I like the freedom of being able to control the process, control when I get my product out, my work out. And I learned very quickly that it is much more lucrative for me to be able to provide the books, provide the publication to the people that trust me, that love me, and are looking for what I have. I don't know if in the what is it? It's been now 7 years since my first book came out. I'm not sure that we even saw $15,000, in royalty rates. I know we didn't see it, not in royalty rates. Maybe between books that I was able to sell on my own. I don't know that we saw that. But in the first 3 months of the self-published book, we were able to do almost $12,000. So my book came out July the 1st, 2025. This is a screenshot from our Square, um, which is the back of house place where we receive payments, virtual payments for the book. This does not include our digital sales. This does not include the pre-sales. This is just straight, straight transactions. And man, we released July the 1st, and from July the 1st, 2025 to September 30th, we were able to pull in almost $12,000. That's more than I saw in I would argue 5 years of promo and working our book through the publishing house. And so I have learned that in 90 days, you can bring in 5 figures for your book. And I have learned that you can produce one if you go the route of self-publishing in 90 days. That's quality, that makes an impact, and that creates an income. So what do we do here at Passion to Publication? I help full-time pastors, clergy, and influencers convert the messages they are passionate about into published works that will expand their impact and increase their income. Very simple. We are helping full-time pastors, full-time staff pastors, clergy, influencers convert the messages that they are passionate about into published works that will expand their impact and increase their income. And the system we will take you through will take you from idea to a published author with a vehicle to bring in an additional 5 figures of revenue in 90 days without an agent, without AI, without Amazon. Uh, and somebody's like, what? So let me be clear, because I've worked with several coaches. I've invested a lot of money learning how to coach and how to do this with integrity. This is not a promise that in the first 90 days of your book sales, this is not a promise that 90 days from idea to the time we publish, you'll be sitting on 5 figures from your book in revenue. That's not what the promise is. What the promise is we're going to have your book published in 90 days, and we're going to set you up to make 5 figures at least in revenue from your book as you work the system. Now, I've told every person that I've worked with, I'm going to give you the sauce. I'm going to give you the strategy. I'm going to coach you through it. We're going to make it to the end. We're going to make it to the end zone. It's on you to do the work, right? So if we don't make 90 days, it's not because we don't have the blueprint. It's because you haven't done the work. All right. So we can't guarantee 90 days if you don't do the work. We can guarantee we're going to set you up to be able to do it. And we're going to guarantee that we're going to set you up to be able to make 5 figures on your book if you meet those qualifications. We're going to do it without an agent. You don't need a literary agent to do this. You don't need AI. I don't believe in um, typing in a prompt for AI to create your book for you. We're going to do this old school, right? And you can do this. And we're going to do this without Amazon. Why without Amazon? So here's a little tidbit. A lot of people and I hope that you are taking notes. A lot of people can write a manuscript and can throw that manuscript into something we call um, Amazon Kindle KDP. It's not a bad service. Amazon is the biggest, the largest, right? It's the biggest seller of books in the world, and it's not a bad thing to use KDP, Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, to upload your book to Amazon and to sell directly from Amazon. I want you to hear me. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people do it. Most independent authors do it. But what most of them don't know going in or don't understand is if your goal is impact and income, Amazon, you have to be aware of the fact that Amazon can take up to 70% of your royalty for using that platform for distribution, right? And so, not in all cases, but you will learn if you go just do some research, you'll find that the royalty rate using KDP is significantly smaller on print books. They control the pricing range for you. And, you know, I'm interested in keeping a lot more of my income. I don't want to wait on Amazon. And I don't want to wait. I don't want to have to push a whole lot faster. Now, so the way that we go through our process is designed for you to still create that book in 90 days, to still make 5 figures of revenue on your book, whether you use Amazon or not. And we'll show you how to do that. There are 4 steps in our program. One is preparation, and there are 4 steps to any person who is putting out a book. So whether you work with us or not, you still need to follow these 4 steps. We're going to start with preparation. How do you actually prepare a manuscript? How do you go from the idea to a manuscript, and preparing yourself to be successful in writing that manuscript, whether you have all the time in the world or very little time? We're going to walk through a process to get you there. Production is actually writing it, actually writing the book, getting the manuscript done, and we're going to walk and coach you through that. Publication is how do we get it from it's written in my Word document to something that can be printed, something that has an ISBN, something that is registered, for us to be able to go out and sell this book, right? For us to be able to sell the ebook version, for us to be able to sell the audio version. How do we publish this book, right? And we'll walk you through the steps for that. And then promotion is I've got a book, and this is where a lot of authors, um, this is where a lot of independent authors fall short. I don't have a customer acquisition system. I don't have a way to get people to actually buy the book. The book exists, but I don't have a way to get them to buy it. I don't have a proven process to do that. So we're going to walk you through a proven process, um, to create your own customer acquisition system. And if you work the system, you will make 5 figures on your book through this process. All right. That is a proven step. So how do we do this in 90 days? Well, I'm gonna tell you. The first 7 to 14 together, it's all preparation. We're gonna get you ready to be successful in the writing of your book and producing the manuscript. We're gonna talk through some important questions that will get your mind moving, and we're going to talk through strategy for actually writing the piece so that you can write it in 14 to 21 days. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but both of the books that I produce through trade and through self-publishing, I wrote them writing time in 2 weeks. Now, again, I believe in integrity. My first book is based on my doctoral work. So that's 3 years of research that I did to be able to bring that to the writing of the trade book version of that. But the actual writing of it, once I prepared and created a plan, and I will walk you through the same process of creating that plan for you. Then it was 14 to 21 days of intentional writing. And if you can carve out 14 to 21 days of intentional writing, you can get the book done. Then we're going into our editing and formatting phase. We're going to walk you through editing. We're going to walk you through formatting the book. So you can't take it straight from Word. You got to have formatting and you got to have design, your covers, and all these things. We'll walk you through that process. Then we'll go into publication. How do we take it from formatting and editing and design to a book that is published, it's live, it's ready to go? And then we will finally walk you through the process of promotion, of pre orders, and of building out your customer acquisition system that will ensure you're able to make five figures on your book and on your release. Um, so I think it's important to talk about who this program is for. It is for primarily full time pastors, full time staff pastors, Christian influencers who are looking to make an impact and make income through the publication of what they're passionate about. And why do we specify? Why do we have qualifiers on this? Well, because we're making some strong claims, and I am not a scammer. Um, we are going to help you to do this in 90 days, to create your book in 90 days. We're going to help you to create it and to create a vehicle, a customer acquisition system for you to make the income that we promise. But in order to do that, you have to have a potential customer base. So we want people who have the potential to actually attract customers. And so um, those qualifiers there, full-time pastors, staff pastors, Christian influencers, have people who they are connected to. They have a network that helps us to create a base. And whether you are self-published or through a publishing house, if you do an inquiry letter for a publishing house, they're going to ask you, what is your network? Right? Because even as they are designing the marketing plan around the book from the publishing house company, you are also working that promo plan, even if you're signed to a place, and they are relying on your network to attract sales. And so I want to set you up to win. And so to set you up to win, I need to know that you are connected to networks. Um, for pastors and staff pastors, you're connected to churches as well as other churches to help you create that customer acquisition system to ensure your success when you are doing that. You may not be one of these people. You may be a Christian influencer, but you have a following. We can work with that. All right. But we want to make sure that you have access to people, to organizations, and the systems that will help you to be successful in making sales. Number two, why do we say full time? Why do we say persons who are part of organizations, full time staff pastors, Christian influencers? Because if you're going to go the self publishing route, and that is what we are working on this side, as I said in the very beginning, it's all on you. So to be able to do this, you have to be financially in a position where you can invest not just in this program, but also in the production costs of what it takes to self-publish a book, right? It's going to cost money to print the physical copies of the book that you have to pay unless we get our pre-orders on and popping real good. And we're going to talk about how to do that. But you're going to have to pay for an editor at some point in this journey. You're going to have to pay or create your own designs. There's going to be a formatting process, and there's going to be whether you hire somebody or we'll walk through some software that you can utilize to do that. There are these costs to actually publishing, self-publishing a book. And so we want you to be in a place where you can do that and you don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. And so if you are considering being a part of this program, you need to have access to some capital for startup investments in your product and to be able to cover the cost of the program. And we don't want to get you on a phone call and uh, have you in a place. I want you to be clear from the beginning that there's a cost for the program for sure, but there's also the cost that it takes to publish your book. Now, as I've shown you in my own journey, that cost is a minimal investment on what you can get back very quickly. And so I showed you from my own screenshot. That is my story, that I've been able to get that back. But I want you to be aware that this program may not be for you if you don't have access to be able to get that, or to be able to borrow that responsibly, to start and to invest in it. And then finally, we want to work with people who are ready to work. If you are still kind of, yeah, I think I want to do this, I don't know, I am not mad at you at all. We're going to be putting out content on Instagram to help. We've got some free resources that we're going to be giving out. That is fine. As you are thinking through what you want to do, I hope that that will help you, and I'm praying for your journey. But we are only wanting people to follow through on these calls with me, these discovery calls, because we only have a limited amount of space and time and capacity. Um, if you're ready to start, I want to get this done. I'm ready to see this idea uh, go into fruition in 90 days. Those are the people that we want to work with. And so, if that's you, and you're ready to go from idea and confusion to clarity and a published work that's going to set you up to make an impact and income, then I want you to follow through with our discovery call. I want you to be ready to work, and I will catch you on the call. I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you, and I've been blessed. We are already churning out these books. Our first one that is coming out from one of our clients in 2026 is one from Pastor Tyra Bethea. What would Jesus do? And I'm excited. She's done the work behind the scenes, and just wanted you to hear from her a little bit about her experience.
Hey everybody, it's Pastor Tyra here of Altogether Ministries. Listen, I am coming here to tell you how you need to run, not walk, to join the Passion to Publication program with Pastor Joshua L. Mitchell. I went to him some months ago with an idea of a book that I've been carrying around in my spirit for a good 3 years. And within less than 90 days, he has taken my passion, my story, that which God has laid upon my heart, and helped me to bring it into fruition. He helped me through every step and every part of the journey. And I'm telling you, I could not have done it without him. And so if you have a story to tell, if you have a book idea, if you have a message that has been burning in your heart and you've been waiting to get it out, I need for you to reach out to Pastor Joshua L. Mitchell and tell him that you want to be a part of the Passion to Publication program. All right. See you there.
I appreciate it. We're excited. She's going to launch in February of 2026. And I'm excited for her, and excited for those that will be blessed by what she's doing. So, my last question for you is, are you ready? And if you're ready, I'm ready to work with you. We want to push you to the finish line, and we want to get it done in 90 days. Blessings to you. We'll see you on your call, and let's get ready to work. Let's do this.